I started coming to Highview, I believe, in 1977. Got involved in the classes and just have been here ever since. So our membership is still with Highview, so we've been here for quite a while.
Since November 1985, I think I joined in, I believe it was December 1985, because Ann and I were getting married in the following February.
Well, the way I was asked to do living pictures, I was playing basketball, and two young ladies came and asked me. And at first I said no, I didn't want to do that. You know, there was something about being in front of a lot of people with just a tunic on that didn't appeal to me too much, but they kept after me, and I played the game, and they kept after me after the game and for a little bit. So I finally said yes. Playing Jesus is a scary thing, so it was a little scary and a little daunting that I was going to be playing Jesus. I had to pick my game up a little bit.
Well, I was asked by, I don't remember the person or the persons, but I was asked by members of the choir and the production team. My wife, Ann, was very active in choir, and I was asked, I don't remember exactly whom, but if I wanted to play Pilate. And I was thinking, well, you gotta learn a lot of lines, but they told me that my part would be I didn't have to learn any lines, and that helped. Well, there was a feeling there, and I know, when you hear about this story, the scriptures, and you read about it and you listen to sermons about it, that's one thing. But when you're up on a stage and you're physically acting out a part that has so much meaning to it, it was a little uneasy for me to be sure, because I wanted to be sure that I did it the way I should have done it. And it was walking over and seeing Jesus and the centurions over there, and and listening to the crowd. You had to make the determination who you were going to release. And it was a little bit mind-boggling at the time, but also it worked on you a bit, or did on me, to see that I was going to have to send a person to their death on a cross, which is the most brutal way of dying ever.
So the living pictures was just, and also me, I didn't want to learn any lines, so it was great. We didn't have to learn any lines. So they would just show us, they would just input us into the scene, and then they would talk about scriptures. The pastor would talk about scriptures, or the narrator, and then we were the living pictures behind that. And we did have some movement. It was very slow as he was talking, but a lot of still shots, just a still shot of the grave site, and then a still shot of the cross, and a still shot, well, actually they did show the nailing of the nails in the wrist. So there was some movement, but it was very slow to tell the story. So we were there just to be a living picture of that story, of that snapshot when the narrator was talking.
And we also had to recognize where the choir was in their wording, and also what the drama was doing down in front of the scrim. So in addition to being Pilate, I was also behind the stage helping with getting some of the sets out, and the characters, getting them out, because I had a board to use. And I think it was Bill Hargrove, if I remember correctly. He was one of the centurions, and he and I were on the stage setting up the tomb scene, and whomever it was turned the lights on before either he and I were too slow or they were too quick and caught us on stage. So I jumped through the curtain, and Bill, I think at the time, either dove into or behind the tomb. But that was a light moment in a serious presentation.
Okay, so yeah, part of my 15 minutes of fame, I was able to get my picture on the front page of the Courier-Journal. But the young man that took this picture I didn't know my picture was being taken, didn't know it was going to be on the front page. But he did talk to me after the show, and he had no idea what the story of Jesus was. He was an unbeliever, a non-believer, and we got to share the gospel with him. I don't know what happened with that, but it was kind of neat to share the gospel. So the story went, I believe, from the Lord's Supper all the way to the Ascension. And so that was kind of a cool thing to do. Two guys hoisted me up on a pulley, and I got to ascend up into the top of the roof, anyways, out of sight, behind the curtain.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat.
Easter certainly acknowledges and signifies the risen Christ. Without that, we would have no hope. But with that, we have all the hope we ever need.
Living Pictures is exactly what it says. It's a living picture. And for people that don't know the gospel, Jesus was sent here on earth for the very purpose of Easter. It was just helping to depict that story and tell that story of that Jesus came here on earth. He lived a perfect life, a sinless life, was murdered for our sins and sacrificed for our sins, willingly gave his life, and was resurrected. He was buried 3 days, and he was brought back to life, appeared to many people. Many people's lives were converted and believed in Jesus at that point during then. And that story's been told and told and told and written about. So thank goodness it has been, so we have the chance to believe. So Living Pictures is a production. So if you don't have the production, and we may never do another production, that's fine, because every day in your life is a living picture.